Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 4th of August, and Tuesday the 4th of August coincides, Gary, with stage 4 restrictions.
Well, Phil, we are living in a state of disaster, right? It's an official state of disaster, which actually reminds me of my bedroom at home. My mother used to come in and go, "This is a disaster." So I know, because I've lived in a disaster, so I feel quite comfortable, Phil.
Scotty from marketing should not have coined the term state of disaster. I mean, who wants to live in a state of disaster?
Well, hang on.
What politicians should come out and go, "Listen, constituents, we're in a state of disaster.
We're going to change our number plates, you know. The state of Garden, it's disaster state. So I just want to, I want to know what's
the garden state, the disaster state, the disaster state,
the disaster state, the event state, the disaster. Now I want to just ask you this.
Scotty from marketing, that is just appalling.
I don't think you're going to get a review this year, and your wages at least not upwards. Look, let's just talk about, we've gone from state of emergency. We're now a state of disaster. What is next? That's what I want to know. What comes after the state of disaster? Is it the state of devastation, state of apocalypse, state of couldn't be more stuffed, or is it a state of don't even ask anymore?
It'll be Victoria, the rooted state.
Just
to go back in time and give it an old-fashioned rooted.
Yeah, let's go back to the rooted state. Well, here we are in the rooted state.
We're still smiling. To come out and go, listen, I'm going to level with you. The state's rooted.
Exactly right. Come out and say that. I think you get a lot more popularity. He's not all that popular right at the moment.
It's got to be the headline of GPTV.
The rooted state. Coming from the rooted state edition. Exactly right. But what I've liked is the way he's dealt with disputes, Dan Andrews, and I think we can apply that to our business. No, I do. Here with me, because what he said basically is when they questioned him, right, on the quarantining, he said, look, there's an investigation into that. Right? It's gone to a retired judge to investigate it, and it's not for me to check myself. So I reckon now, if a landlord rings and says, look, why can't you rent out my property? I'm going to say, look, it's not for me to look at us to give you that answer. We're going to get a retired judge, and we'll give you the answer in 8 months' time as to why your property can't rent out.
Retired judges that watch GPTV, now you're retired and got nothing to do, just please send in your resume to ideas@garypeer.com.au, because goodness knows we're going to need you.
But I reckon, isn't that a great dispute resolution? So, so if you say to me, you're unhappy with me about anything, I'm going to say, Philip, it's not for me to look into myself and investigate. I'm going to get a retired judge. And I'll come back to you in 8 months' time.
They're going to be wheeling out retired judges from the nursing homes. It doesn't matter, because there's only so many of them.
Exactly right.
So you'll find there's going to be a retired judge in a wheelchair hooked up to a drip, and we'll be going, yep, you're our guy.
Exactly right. They're all, at the moment, even though nursing homes aren't great, but those nursing homes that are okay, there was retired judges fist pumping saying, I'm back, I am back doing investigations for, because...
Shout out to the poor nursing homes in the state of Victoria.
Yeah, it's not fun. We're not being jovial about it. No,
it's not fun to the relatives, the children, and those that are related. So special shout out to all of those people in a nursing home. We are not making fun of you. We're not making fun of the situation. But goodness knows we have to laugh in a state of disaster.
We have to do it because, at least our minds are not in a disastrous state. Our state might be disastrous, but our minds are still
jovial. I'll tell you one thing that's not in a state of disaster, Gary, and that's not the property market. So as much as we're trying to keep it all together, it doesn't help when Scotty from marketing comes out and says it's a disaster.
I think Mr. Andrews, today you should say it's a state of disaster. That would be a good lead pitch to go out with.
Anyway, imagine when auctions in real life come back, I'll go, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this beautiful property in this beautiful street, situated in this state of disaster.
Why would you want to live anywhere else? Exactly right. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, it is a state of disaster that we're in, Phil.
Can you imagine, because a lot of other states of Australia, particularly New South Wales, love to take the piss out of Victorians and love to dump on it. And our own Premier has thrown in the towel to the competition between New South Wales and Victoria by calling us the state of disaster. He could have just said, there's a bit of a problem here, and it could have been a bit of a problem instead of a state of disaster. We're in a state of a bit of a problem.
There's no problem until that retired judge tells us there's a problem, right? And that retired judge is working on finding out.
All right, let's move on, Gary, because we've trivialised this when really we shouldn't be.
But Philip, that watch this show, they want a tonic, they want an uplift, they don't want to hear about all the misery that's out there. They want to get some sunshine on their grey and dark
You're
lives.
saying that the viewers tune in just for an uplifting moment, not to learn anything about the property market?
Maybe a little bit, I don't know. I think there's a mix of it. I know a lot of people from New South Wales watch it because when we had that 400th edition, there were people that was chiming in on Facebook and saying nice things. Actually, you've got some comments here, Phil. I'm going to even get them here.
Read them through, Gary.
Yeah, we've got George. Thank you. I won't say his second name. Said he's a huge fan of the weekly event, Phil. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, George.
Make us a natural double act. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I'll take it as a compliment. Makes it on the weekly appearance on the small screen something to look forward to. Lived in Gleneye for over 30 years. Hope you're thinking of selling, George. But even if you're not, thanks for the message. And of course, somebody else said it was brilliant. That was Joseph, Phil. So we've got a couple of comments. So they're the two viewers.
We film viewers.
Both of you,
viewers, just in case you're passing, we film our GPTV edition at our new residential collection centre at 198 Balaclava Road, Caulfield North, and there are in a very socially distant opportunity,
also known as the Money Pit, by the way.
As an opportunity, it's a socially distant opportunity for you to come and sit here and watch this in live format. But I say that because I just want to talk to you.
Audience.
I just want to put up some footage of our sales meeting that I actually ran from here on Monday, Gary.
Yes, you were weird.
And what I had was all of the screens up with our Zoom meetings. So I'll show a quick little bit of footage on that. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Ooh,
but
look
viewers,
at that. Interesting, Phil.
Viewers, I want to just share with you what I did across the weekend. I ate and I ate and I ate cake. And I've got to tell you,
isn't that going to be encouraging for someone who wants to employ you as your agent?
I went to Tartine in High Street on Armadale, bought some carrot cake and some hummingbird cake. But what I do want to just put up...
What is hummingbird cake?
I'm not sure really, but
I think there'll be people that won't like the thought of you eating hummingbirds.
No, there's no bird in it, but it's called hummingbird.
Okay.
Google the recipe. But the thing that I want to show, Gary, I went to the Tivoli Bakery in Tivoli Road, South Yarra, which is really my second best bakery and
next
most
to
famous
Baker Blue.
I said my second favourite bakery after Baker Blue, Hawthorne Road, Caulfield North.
Yes. Who found the tenant for that?
But have a look at these donuts up on screen now, viewers. These donuts, these brioche-style donuts with lemon curd centre. Oh my Lord! I ate. See, there was a box of 6.
Do you have the feeling people
box of 6? I ate 4 of those 6.
Do you get the feeling that people are going to think there's nothing happening in real estate? Because all we've done is talk about Cuddles Kingston over here, the new Cuddles Kingston, who just is the cake trier of Melbourne. I mean, you can't go outside of your little square now.
Well, I've got to tell you,
you're going to be stuck with those brioches.
A 5-kilometre radius.
Yeah.
So I've started seeing people dropping a pin onto a Google map and showing 5 kilometres.
Yeah.
Do you actually understand how big 5 kilometres?
I know.
5 kilometres.
Never go outside of that anyway.
I mean, seriously. Mr. Andrews, 5 kilometres is a ridiculously large amount of territory.
Are you criticising him?
Think about this.
Because if I can wander, he's not going to judge himself. He'll get a retired judge to work it out.
If I can wander anywhere within 5 kilometres of where I live, I reckon hundreds of thousands of people live within a 5-kilometre radius. I was somewhat surprised when he came out with 5 kilometres because 5 kilometres is a massive amount of territory.
Do you know...
from 5 kilometres from here, we could go to the Bay, we could go to Albert Park, we could go all the way past, probably to Chadstone, we can go all the way to Richmond, and we could go all the way to past Brighton.
Yeah, I know that.
So,
I've had a look at it. My daughter showed me the map. It's a lot of area, isn't it?
If you're going to restrict us in a state of disaster, a 5-kilometre radius is ridiculous. Can we talk about property, Gary? This is a property show.
Hey, we sold 10 at 10 Parkside Street, Phil.
We did.
Shout
out to our vendor Vanessa, who is the most delightful person.
Recent mother with the most wonderful mother,
with the most beautiful baby. If we had permission to put up a shot of her baby. Vanessa is a good-looking person, but that little baby, I love babies.
Yeah,
I love babies.
In a very
warm
way,
if I could have my time over again, I would have spent. Well, everyone says they would have spent more time with their children.
Well, I don't know if your parents said that, Phil, but most people would have said it. I'm not sure. But anyway, look, we were expecting somewhere in the high 6s to kind of mid 7s, Phil, and suffice to say it's sold in the upper area of price, although the price is undisclosed. Phil, we
beautifully renovated ground floor apartment with a courtyard garden, always a winner.
168A Campbrook Road. Hey, Phil, talk about a great property.
What
this
a
one at Campbrook
beautiful
Road.
townhouse that is.
Beautiful townhouse.
I'm sick of this word townhouse, Gary, because it doesn't
residence?
really represent the quality. We've got to start calling them homes. Because they're homes with a party wall, because they're the size of, I mean, really, if you think about it, these homes are about three times the size of what the average European lives in Europe.
Yes, indeed they are, Phil. Anyway, sold for $1,825,000, Philip, and I think the next door one's coming up now. So if you missed it, don't worry, stay tuned.
Happy to have it too.
Marmar Road, Phil, that was a beautiful property, sold for $1,600,000. Well done to David Thompson. Just whipping through a few sales, just with no particular order, Philip, but these are all things that sold last week. Hey, you've got our clearance rate.
We had an incredible, well, we had a 100% clearance rate last week.
We have 100% every week, but I think we sold something like, I think it was close to 11 out of 14 again. There was 3 unsold, Phil. 3 unsold? Yes.
Well, Darren Crongold reported our sales to our group as 100% clearance
but
rate.
He didn't talk about the ones that have been pushed out. So I think there was like 2 or 3
So you're going to
pushed
tell
out.
it exactly the way...
it was about 80% again.
Okay. Well, 80% is pretty good.
Still good, well, as it was last week. And Phil, we're everywhere because we're from Caulfield South to Caulfield North to Murrumbidgee to St Kilda's and Kilda East and Clayton. And Wickham Road, Phil, in Hampton East, has sold for $550,000, the top of its range.
Good result, Gary.
We'd share that with the viewers.
I'll tell you what is interesting, viewers, because look, you keep asking what's going on in the market, and we keep having our viewers. They keep asking what's really going on in the market. Well, they send us in emails, Gary. They send us in video questions. They send us in voice questions.
Insults and abuse.
What's really going on in the market? I'll tell you one thing that is interesting as I look at last week's number of auctions that we listed, Gary. We had a very strong listing week last week.
Good stuff coming up.
And what that says, vendors, what that says, viewers, is that those that are thinking of selling are still absolutely confident of putting their houses on the market, because we had one of our strongest listing weeks last week that we've had for months.
Thank goodness we did, Phil. There are people still selling.
They will be properties that will come onto the market in pretty much September now, September and October. If you think about the current lockdown, Gary, which is going to go for another 6 weeks, which means we exit mid-September, it's going to be a very late but a very strong spring campaign, I reckon, because that really only allows October, November into December. So stay tuned. You better get fit, Gary. You'd better go on a walk. Viewers, here's a quick question for the mathematicians that watch this. If you're allowed to only walk within a 5 kilometre radius, but you walk to the end point of the 5 kilometres, and then you walk the radius, how far have you walked? And I'll give you a tip. Pythagoras' theorem is something that you need to utilise to answer that question.
I'll tell you who could answer that question, who watches it. That's Professor Neville Norman, Philip. He watches it from the UK.
Okay.
And he would be able to answer that, because he's a genius.
So Professor Neville Norman, probably the most cerebral client that we've ever had, and the most incredible voice.
Oh,
the most incredible voice.
He's a smart guy, Phil, which always surprises me that smart people watch this show, but because I don't think it does anything with image.
He uses it like a sedative.
Yeah, I know, exactly right. Well, maybe,
because when you've got to mind that brilliant, Gary, you're probably you're probably in bed at night and theorems are going through your head and incredible intelligent stuff.
I'm just going to tune out and watch something stupid. There's nothing on TV, so he watches this. So fair enough. Anyway, he might have an answer to that. So what was your answer?
Pythagoras'
theorem. What was
your
your question again? You'd go out to the 5.
If you walk to the edge of your 5 kilometres,
from the central, from the one end to the other.
Gary, you've got to start from somewhere, don't you?
Yeah.
So wherever you are, you walk to the edge of your 5 kilometres, which means you've walked 5 kilometres. Then you do a circle, because that's you're allowed to stay within that circle. No, it won't take you back to you do the circle and then you come back. So here's the trick question.
You come back? You've gone 5 kilometres that way. How can you come back? You must go back in a circle to your starting point. Anyway, we'll have to work it out. Listen, 255 VCE, 253.
Out of
420 or something. Yeah, we still haven't worked out what it was out of. Okay, I think we'll get it. Neville will help us out. He'll come to the party and probably give us an answer by next week, hopefully. Phil, shall we move on to some of our property and some of our offerings? Because we've got some damn good offerings, Phil. We've got some beautiful homes.
We do, Gary.
If you're a fair dinkum, bona fide buyer, Philip, and you're ready to transact and purchase, have we got some listings for you? We've got some great stuff, and some of it's getting sold quietly, Philip. Off market, we just can't talk about them.
Okay, one of the ones we can talk about is townhouse number 1 at 2 Woodville Avenue in Glen Huntly. I love Woodville because in Woodville, and particularly from number 2 Woodville, Gary, you can walk to Mr. Brightside, which is really just literally walk out your front door, walk across the road. You can also walk to the beautiful park of Karawina Road and Marara. And then, of course, you can walk to the train station, the Glen Huntly train station, the shopping centre there. Anyway, that's a fabulous 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, wonderful town residence or town home or just home. We've also got home number 2 at 93 Argyle Street in St Kilda.
There, Phil.
I love Argyle Street. I learnt something in Argyle Street once from a very intelligent vendor that told us her theory about auctions, which I'll come back to another time. But that's a wonderful 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1-car space property.
I'm going to talk about this one, Phil, because I've been to this property. I've been to this one in Bond Street, Phil, and this is in the Caulfield Village complex, Philip. But I've got to tell you, when you go into this apartment, you don't feel like you're in any complex at all, because you're elevated. You've got a magnificent view over the treetops and rooftops.
Why, is that because what level are you on, Gary?
Well, I don't know exactly which level you're on. I feel like you could be on the 3rd floor. But I can tell you, you jump in your lift, you're up on the 3rd or 4th floor, however high it is, and you've got this beautiful view, Philip, towards the city. You can see the fireworks on New Year's Eve, but you can see treetops. It was a 3-bedroom, Phil, that they made into a 2, and they've got 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
And it's just huge. So one of us knows what's going on.
There's a gym there.
There's a pool there. It's apartment number 511 at 15 Bond Street. If it's 511, Gary, that's because it would be on the 5th floor.
I know. There's those little tricks somewhere, isn't there?
Did you hear the echo when I said that? It went in this ear, did a
loop
loop
of the other side,
came out the other side. But 511, that development is an incredible development. You've got incredible common facilities. You've got boardrooms and gymnasiums and home theatres and swimming pools. But rumour has it that the Coles supermarket, Gary, in Dandenong Road, which is part of the East Caulfield Shopping Centre, rumour has it that it's been sold to the city, to Monash University, and it's going to relocate to part of this development. So this development that is across the road from the Caulfield Racecourse, which is an incredible development, is about to be anchored, so the rumour has, by a Coles supermarket.
This apartment itself, Philip, got a beautiful view, faces northwest, very spacious, beautifully fitted out. It is a quality property due to go to auction this weekend, Phil. And I have the Zoom auction honours at 10:30 a.m. Phil, let's move on to this wonderful
home number 1 at 82 Balaclava Road. Just, you can almost see it from where we're standing, Gary. Literally just that way. That's 3 bedrooms, 3.5 gleaming bathrooms, plus undercover car parking for 2, not 1 car. So that's wonderful. You've got the tram at your doorstep. You've got the wonderful shops of the Caulfield Junction at your doorstep. You've also got Caulfield Park, which is just fabulous. And should you have a little bambino or 2, you can send them directly across the road from where we are now to one of the best government schools in Melbourne, which is the Caulfield Primary School.
I knew at Caulfield North Primary School.
Which also has a baccarat, not a baccarat, that's the game, isn't it?
Bocce.
No, it's a French-speaking program that is called Baccarat or something or other.
They've got the French school there. Is that what you're saying, Phil?
Absolutely, Gary.
With the French teachers, Philip. So, Phil, that's a big wrap. That's what's happening out there. By the way, I did hear your dulcet tones the other day being interviewed by Ashley Brown. I think it's called A Walk in the Park.
No, it's called A Lap of Caulfield Park.
What a great... Tell us about that series before you start blowing your own trumpet, which I'll do for you. Anyway, tell us about that series, because it's an interesting series.
Gary, well, first of all, Ashley Brown is an icon of the community because he's been a sports journalist and a journalist for his entire career. So we're talking about decades. Indeed. And he's held a whole range of different positions over the journey. He's been at The Age, he's been on SEN, he's been on a whole host of things.
There is nothing about sport that guy doesn't know.
Well, look, and not only that, he's super nice bloke.
Yeah, good.
But he started a new podcast called Lap of Caulfield Park, where he interviews I'm now laughing. He interviews interesting people.
It is a laugh, yeah.
Fascinating people.
Yes. And he couldn't find one last week, so we interviewed you instead, Phil. He did. Which was very good, very good interview.
So I want you viewers to download on Spotify, I think, SoundCloud, but if you Google it, Lap of Caulfield Park, Ashley Brown. His first person that he interviewed was Andrew Bassett from Seek.
Oh, yes, interesting.
So I've got to tell you, I felt rather chuffed that I was his second interviewee.
Yeah. Well, what's the difference between you and Andrew Bassett? Probably about $80 million.
500 million. 500 million.
Yeah, $500 million. Otherwise,
anyway, Andrew Bassett was an appropriate choice because not only is he a fascinating business person, but he's also the president of the St Kilda Football Club, and also a very, very, very nice man from a very nice family.
Indeed.
So download, get behind that Lap of Caulfield Park, and hopefully by the time we put this and put it to air, we'll actually put where you can download it from.
And between you and Andrew Bassett, there's about $500 million of wealth there as well, which is just fantastic, isn't it? Phil, we've also got a next speaker, I think, is on fashion, which he talked about. That's the next person to speak.
Yes.
Anyway, look, we'll listen to that because it was great. I enjoyed it, Phil. Good. That's a big wrap on this edition. This last month of winter, Phil. It's been pretty good, although we're getting into some chilly conditions now. And by the way, golf, see you later, all over. I did play a good round last time I played, Phil, which is unusual for me, but at least I get to keep that for the next 6 weeks. No more golf.
Yep.
I don't know what they're going to do with racing, although one of my horses, Order of Command's brother, got retired now, finished, because he's got a little bit of a sore leg, so probably eating a little bit too many of the
those ponchkas
or whatever those cakes are that you call it. But it's going to be an interesting time, but property just keeps rolling on, and we'll keep bringing you all the information on GPTV. I'm Gary Pearce.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a fabulous and very, very safe week in the disaster stays.